The walls of the royal palace have always been built on secrecy, silence, and carefully orchestrated. But in recent days, a storm has been brewing behind those gilded gates, one that no amount of public relations spin could ever hope to. Reports began surfacing that dozens of doctors were being rushed in and out of Kate Middleton's private medical quarters, their presence carefully shielded from the public. At first, the palace tried to pass it off as nothing more than routine checkups, but whispers from insiders painted a far darker, more unsettling picture. Kate's illness is far more serious than anyone had dared to imagine. For months, speculation had swirled about the Princess of Wales's health. Official statements remained vague, talk of exhaustion, stress, or need for privacy. But behind closed doors, something far more troubling was unfolding. Staff members who once spoke freely about the day-to-day happenings in the palace now walked on eggshells, terrified. Yet, despite the tight grip on information, details began to slip out. It started with an unusual number of black cars and ambulances seen near the royal residence at odd hours. Then came the whispers, Kate was not recovering, she was deteriorating. Eyewitnesses described scenes that belonged more to a crisis ward than to the serene grounds of the royal. Medical teams, sometimes more than 10 at a time, shuffled in carrying the presence of oncologists, cardiologists, and even neurosurgeons was noted by eagle-eyed reporters who managed to catch glimpses of why. Many asked, would such a diverse team of specialists be necessary if Kate's condition were truly under control? The public narrative began to crumble. William, usually calm and collected, was seen looking visibly. Photographs captured him leaving the palace with a face pale and tight, his lips pressed into a hard line. Insiders claimed he had barely slept in weeks, spending every available moment by Kate's side, often pacing hospital corridors as he awaited updates. For the future King of England, it was a portrait of despair he could not hide. And yet, the palace PR machine spun on, insisting there was nothing of grave concern. But if there was nothing serious, why had dozens of doctors been summoned at once? Why the secrecy, the rush, the heavy flow of medical staff in and out? Something was not. Then came the most chilling revelation. Kate had suffered a sudden collapse during a private The room erupted into chaos, a flurry of calls made in panic, and within minutes, the palace was flooded with medical. It was this incident, sources claimed, that triggered the massive influx of doctors. Though she had been stabilized, the underlying cause was far from resolved. And worse, no one seemed able to agree on what exactly was happening to. Some insiders whispered the word cancer, a dreaded diagnosis that would explain the presence of oncologists. Others insisted it was a rare autoimmune condition, one that had been slowly ravaging her body without detection. A few even suggested it was a neurological disorder, something so severe it could affect her ability to carry out royal duties. Whatever the truth, it was clear the situation had spiraled beyond the palace's control. For the British people, this secrecy only fueled the fire. Social media exploded with theory. Some blamed the palace for downplaying her condition to preserve the monarchy's. Others accused the media of covering up the truth out of loyalty to the crown. But one common thread tied every rumor together: this was no ordinary illness. This was something far darker, something that could change the very course of the. What terrified royal watchers most was the prospect that Kate, the woman often seen as the stabilizing force of the royal family, might not return to public. With King Charles himself battling health issues, and Prince Harry estranged in California, the weight of the monarchy's future rested heavily on William and if Kate were incapacitated, even temporarily, it would plunge the royal family into a crisis unlike any in modern. And the palace knew it. Every move from their press office became more desperate. Carefully staged photos of Kate smiling, allegedly at home and recovering, were released. But eagle-eyed observers noted the inconsistencies, the lighting, the setting, the subtle signs that these images were not recent. Was the palace recycling old photos to maintain the illusion of stability? The theory gained traction, and soon the internet was ablaze with accusations of staged images and photo manipulation. As the speculation mounted, one undeniable fact remained: the constant stream of doctors had not. Reports surfaced that new teams were arriving almost daily, some flying in from abroad. This was not routine care, it was a medical emergency unfolding in slow motion, shielded from public view but impossible to hide. The palace's silence grew deafening. When pressed, officials repeated the same lines: the princess is resting. She is in good hands. The family appreciates the public's concern, but there were no details, no timelines, no real reassurances. The vagueness only deepened the sense of dread. If everything was fine, why couldn't they simply say so? For William, the strain was palpable. Sources close to him claimed he had cancelled multiple engagements, retreating entirely from the public eye to focus on his. Some even suggested he was preparing for the unthinkable, that Kate might need to step back permanently from her royal duty. Such a move would devastate the monarchy's carefully crafted image of stability and content. Without Kate, the royal family would lose its most relatable and admired figure, the one member who truly connected with the public on a human. And still, the doctors kept coming. By now, the question was no longer whether Kate was ill, but rather how severe, how life-threatening, her condition truly was. Every sign pointed to a crisis of monumental proportions, one that the palace could not keep hidden forever. The longer they remained silent, the more speculation turned into certainty in the minds of the public. Kate's illness was spiraling out of control. The climax of this unfolding drama came when unconfirmed reports claimed that Kate had been moved to a private intensive care unit within the palace. This revelation, if true, meant her condition had deteriorated to a level far beyond what the public had been led to believe. Why else would they need a full ICU set up inside the palace, guarded from prying eyes and shielded from? The weight of uncertainty now looms heavy over Britain. The people demand answers, but the crown remains. In this void of information, theories fester, fear spreads, and the monarchy's credibility erodes. If the truth about Kate's illness is as dire as the influx of doctors suggests, the royal family faces not just a medical crisis, but a historic reckoning with the very institution itself. One thing is certain, whatever is happening behind those palace walls, it is not routine. It is not ordinary. It is not simple exhaustion. It is something far darker, something far more serious than anyone could have imagined. And the silence only makes it more terrible.